how often to take MOTS-c? Well, the answer is already inside of your DNA. What if the key to your metabolism was written in your mitochondria, and most doctors don't even know it exists? I'm Regan Archibald, founder of Ageless Future. We are the world leader in peptide medicine and longevity therapies. And today we're going to talk about something that changes how most people think about peptide dosing, because MOTS-c, the when and how often, is not just a scheduling question, it's a whole strategy. And this is where you got to get your blood labs ran, work with our team of licensed providers. We only use 503A compounding pharmacies. And MOTS-c is this beautiful 16 amino acid peptide, and it's encoded in your nuclear DNA, like most proteins. It's encoded in the mitochondrial DNA, specifically in the 12S RNA region. And this is the first mitochondrial-derived peptide ever discovered with full-body hormonal effects. And just like your mitochondria, its dosing schedule has to follow a biological rhythm, because growth hormone has a rhythm, cortisol has a rhythm, melatonin has a rhythm. If you're continually pulsing this rhythm at the wrong time, you may not be getting the benefits of MOTS-c or MOTS-c, however you want to pronounce it. This is an acronym. It's a very long acronym it's a mitochondrial open reading frame. So here's what happens when we learn about MOTS-c. You've seen the study where people who have been put on an exercise bike and their free circulating levels of MOTS-c are tested before they exercise, and then 20 minutes later, they find that their free circulation of MOTS-c is like 500 times greater. And so we think, okay, maybe this mimics exercise, which that's the holy grail of longevity medicine. There's nothing that outperforms exercise in anything that I've seen. VO2 max, if you can get to the elite level, you reduce your risk of dying of all causes by over 400%. MOTS-c can help you get there. You remember the study where they took old mice and they said, okay, we want to see how these old mice perform against young mice on the treadmill. And the young mice could outrun them by almost magnitude of 100%. They took the old mice, injected them with MOTS-c daily for 7 days, put them back on the treadmill, and they could run just as far as these young mice could. So you'd think MOTS-c, well, if that's the case, more is better, right? And then I should be using it every single day. Well, you're going to run into a barrier, because you want to think of these pulsing rhythms. You have what's called mitochondrial biogenesis, and that's the formation of new mitochondria. Mitochondria make energy inside of the cell. You have this gene that turns on this process called PGC1 alpha. MOTS-c works on these pathways. MOTS-c also activates the AMPK pathway, and this is your body's cellular energy, so it's like a battery pack for your mitochondria. When it's activated, it improves insulin sensitivity. It drives glucose into the muscle through this transporter called GLUT4. GLUT4 brings glucose right into the cell without insulin. It's phenomenal. You can also trigger GLUT4 just by exercising, by the way. But MOTS-c, that's what it does. It triggers that mitochondrial biogenesis, so you're literally building more mitochondria. But this AMPK, it follows a rhythm. It's a biological rhythm. When AMPK is high, mTOR is going to be low. Many of you would say, oh, I want mTOR suppressed so I don't get cancer, so I don't age. mTOR is how you build muscles. You're going to want some muscle along for the ride. If you've got really healthy mitochondria, poor muscles, it's going to be like driving a car with a turbo on it, but you've got a 3-cylinder engine, like a Chevy Sprint. I think it was Chevy that made the Sprints. We used to have a Sprint. We'd jump it over the railroad tracks in Idaho. And we ran that Sprint until it started leaking oil, and we just beat up the engine. That's what a lot of you are doing, is you have this beat up engine and you're putting this rocket fuel in it, hoping that it's going to run faster. And maybe it will temporarily, but pretty soon it's all going to be completely destroyed. And so it's just like those of us who are overtraining. It destroys our fitness gains. The mistake that I see most people making with MOTS-c is overprescribing it, not pulsing it, because yes, it's a phenomenal peptide. Many of your patients, they don't want to be on the GLP-1s. GLP-1, they want to cycle off, and you use MOTS-c, or you combine the two, which creates the energy levels people are missing when they're on a GLP-1, like tirzepatide or retatrutide. If you're not cycling it, and if you're not dosing it properly, you're going to miss that pulse. You're just going to overburden the engine. So here's some research. In this study, it was published in Frontiers in Physiology in 2025. Researchers gave MOTS-c to type 2 diabetic rats at 15 milligrams per kilogram daily for 3 weeks. The results were dramatic, as you'd expect. Decreased fasting glucose, improved glucose homeostasis, and this one surprised even the researchers. It reversed cardiac hypertrophy. So the heart literally had been remodeled by the metabolic dysfunction, and MOTS-c reversed it. Isn't that crazy? They also measured the mitochondria, and they found that it restored mitochondrial respiration. It also increased the citrate synthase activity, which is a direct marker of mitochondrial energy production. The second study, now don't just go jump on this. Make sure you work with your medical provider on MOTS-c, because we've seen a lot of people have these immunogenic responses to MOTS-c. I myself went into anaphylaxis after using MOTS-c. Now, I was in a moldy house and I stacked other peptides with it, but MOTS-c was the one that triggered that response. And yes, it was a 503A compounding pharmacy. Love the pharmacist who compounded it. I trust the source. Don't just go jump on this. Okay, let's jump into the next study, Nature Medicine 2025. This one, they looked at aging in the pancreas, and they found that MOTS-c reduced pancreatic islet and beta cell senescence across 3 separate mouse models. And by the way, just because these are mouse models, yes, it needs to get translated into human data, but at least it gives us an understanding of some of the biomechanisms behind this beautiful peptide that's made right in your own body. Senescence. What is senescence, Regan? Well, it's what happens when your cells get old and stop working. And once they die, it's where that lineage of cells die, and then they start spitting out these inflammatory signals. And these are called SASP markers. What MOTS-c does, it dramatically reduces the noise of these SASP markers. That means that there's healthier insulin-producing cells in the pancreas, so better blood sugar regulation, better metabolic system, ages more slowly because you're not having that advanced glycation end products. Now, here's the critical piece about dosing. Now, clinically, using about 10 to 25 milligrams subcutaneously 2 to 3 times per week, cycled over maybe 8 to 12 weeks, not daily. Because if you think about how exercise works, if you're a sprinter, you don't sprint every day. You sprint and you recover. And yes, I'm working on my 40-yard dash. My goal is to get to 4.5. I've got about 30 days left in my sprinting, and I just started working with this Rolfer, and so doing body work, and it's made such a difference. For those of you who are into sprinting, it demands every single muscle in your body to contract 100% more than any other exercise. But make sure you get some body work done. That's what I learned as I was at month 11. I'm like, I got faster quickly, but then I hit a plateau, and now I'm doing body work so I can hit my goal of 4.5 seconds on my 40-yard dash next month. So I'll report back to you guys. But I have to recover. I can't sprint every single day or everything starts to get worse. So if you think about MOTS-c, if I'm using it every day, my body's just like, hey, why are you doing this? Because your cells need time to build up new mitochondria, but then there's this thing where old mitochondria is swept out called mitophagy. And so you need that recovery window, and that's where BAM15 has been really important. And then using Sloop with MOTS-c to really help increase the mitochondrial biogenesis, and then cycling off and letting things sweep out. So this dosing 2 to 3 times per week, it gives that AMPK pathway the stimulus and adaptation window. And then if you're dosing it daily, you're going to have this risk of having the receptor desensitized. We don't want that. So this is why it's really important. Once again, MOTS-c levels are declining naturally with age. And if you're not following this pulsatile mechanism, you're going to miss the window of getting your mitochondria like a 25-year-old. You know, I'm 48, and yesterday I was able to get my maximal heart rate to 205. So I was pretty excited about that, but I know part of it's just MOTS-c, these nice signals. You don't want to overproduce, you don't want to overpush yourself, your biology, your vehicles, anything. And so when you meet with my team, you remember, my team is, let's build a body operations system for you. The goal isn't flooding the system. The goal is to restore the rhythm. And so before you start with MOTS-c, look at your glucose, your fasting glucose, fasting insulin, hemoglobin A1C, look at your C-reactive peptide, look at your CRP. Those are all going to be really important. So for those of you who want to go deeper and take the next step, find out if MOTS-c is right for you, go to agelessfuture.com. You get a free intro call. My team will take exceptional care of you. Can't wait to see you, and I'll find you on the next video. I'm Regan Archibald.